Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Heart Talk. Today is the 16th day in October. It's still 2018. At least I think it is, the way this week is gone. I don't know what's up and what's down anymore, but we're going to get into that. Yeah, so hi, everybody. I'm Sue Ellen Dickinson, and I'm going to be with you as your host for the next hour or so. And before we continue, who just joined us? Welcome to Heart Talk. Tell us who you are, where you're calling from. A mystery caller. We love our mystery callers, even though they are mystery callers. So that's great. Anyway, just a real quick reminder that Heart Talk is so much more than just an ordinary call, because this is where you can speak your mind straight from your heart. And that is exactly what we're going to do today, just like we do every Tuesday morning right about this time. But before we get into some pretty heated discussions, boy, we've got a lot to talk about today, you guys. And I want to hear what is on your mind, not just what I've got to say, but what's on your mind. But let me remind you that Heart Talk is brought to you by The Essentials. And in case you haven't heard about the Essentials, or you're wondering what they are a nutritional supplement that has been created and formulated by our very own Dr. Rudy Cartwright. And in case you don't know who Dr. Rudy Cartwright is, he is a very well-renowned neurosurgeon. That's a brain surgeon. He also just happens to be an expert in MS. How about that? So he has created these amazing supplements for us MSers. And he has designed them and formulated them to help get rid of fatigue, to help stop pain, tingling, and numbness, to help with vision problems and balance, and to clear up that all-too-pesky brain fog, which would drive me crazy. But anyway, the question I get all the time about the Essentials is, well, can I take them with my current medications? Is it okay to do that? And the answer is a resounding yes. You can take the Essentials and any and all of Dr. Cartwright's products with your current medications. By the way, did I mention they are all natural ingredients? They are. So if you'd like to think about getting some of that energy back that you may have lost somewhere along the way, and, start enjoying life again, getting back maybe to try doing things that you haven't done in a while, and getting some of that energy back is going to help. Well, you might want to go and investigate the Essentials. Go pick yourself up a bottle and try it, because they truly are helping people to feel better, one less symptom at a time. And you're probably wondering, well, that's great, but where do I get them? Okay, great question. I'm going to be sending you an email as soon as we're done with our program here. So look for that. It'll take about an hour and a half or so for me to put it all together and get it out to you. About halfway down in that email, you will see in capital letters where it says, Get Dr. Cartwright's Supplements, and you will see a link to the Essentials. Click on that link. It will take you to a page that will tell you all about them, much more than I've had time to outline for you here today, and also a list of the ingredients, because that's a question I get a lot of too. What's in them? What is in the Essentials? Well, you'll be able to see for yourself. So go there and then do yourself a favor and click on that button and get yourself a bottle of the Essentials, because I know you're going to be very glad you did. And simply because they are helping people to feel better, one less symptom at a time. So there you go. Okay, we've got those messages out of the way, and what I want to talk about today is, I had sent something out. We were going to talk about it last week, and those of you that you were on remember about last week what was going on in this neck of the woods. For those of you maybe listening for the first time on the replay or who've just joined us, I happen to live in the northwest corner of Florida, in a beautiful, beautiful town called Fort Walton Beach. And we are somewhere, we're right near Destin. And I think you've heard a lot about us if you've been paying attention to the news this last week, 10 days or so, because we have been, or near us, places near us, been victim of Hurricane Michael. And it's been pretty rough. It's been pretty devastating here. Now, up until about 4:30 the morning, actually a week ago today was when the countdown started as far as nail biting goes. In fact, I had to cancel, if you recall. I had to cancel and kind of duck out. I spent about 15 minutes on this line with you guys, and then I just had to abandon you and let you go. And I'm curious as to how that went for you. Did you have a good conversation? Because I did not record that. It was pretty chaotic around here in this neck of the woods, getting ready for this monster storm that hit less than 100 miles from us to the east. Like I said, we didn't know if it was up until about 4:30 a week ago today, 4:30 in the morning, whether it was going to continue going north as it was tracking north, or was it going to jog a little bit to the east, which it did. And, part of me is very, very grateful that it did. The other part of me is very, very sorrowful because, let me put it this way. There are still hundreds of people who are unaccounted for. And Lisa, I know you live in the state of Florida, and I'm going to hope I want to hear from you in just a little bit, if you don't mind. But I want to know that you're okay. I know you're in Orlando, so you probably got some high winds and high surf and all that sort of thing.
Right.
This thing,
we're fine. We did far better than Irma last year. We only had raining off and on, and it was windy, but nothing major, nothing like Irma last year.
Right. And I remember Irma. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, Irma was bad. I didn't have power for 8 days.
Yeah. Well, this was you remember Hurricane Ivan, don't you?
I lived in Georgia. I was teaching in Georgia at the time.
Okay.
That was in 2004. But my family was
04.
Awful.
Right.
It was an awful situation.
We were here. Let me just kind of preface everything and kind of pick your brain too, if that's all right. But we were here in this house, and thank God, knock on wood. Ours is a very well built home. Of course, nothing is going to withstand. Or your average home is not going to withstand some of those winds like what hit Panama City a week ago. But we rode out Ivan. Now, the direct hit.
In your home?
Yes. I'm going to tell you.
Goodness.
Yes, and we weathered. Let me just put it this way. Yeah, it was terrifying. And when they talk about these high winds, they're not kidding in some of the stories that are surfacing, and we are probably getting more direct local stories than you guys are, because you're listening to Fox News and the national news in Virginia. I know you're way up there in Canada. Heather, if you're on, you're getting the same stories that Virginia is. But I said that to say that we rode Ivan out because it was one of the same crazy things where he jogged a little, in this case, to the west, taking out Pensacola, whereas we were on the northeastern quadrant, which happens to be the bad side. There's sort of they call it a good side and a bad side of a storm. That's sort of another discussion. But this is where a lot of the heavy winds are, and we rode it out in 120-mile-an-hour winds.
Oh my God,
that's scary.
And when I say there are no atheists in a foxhole, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh.
Because until you are faced with your own mortality, and this beautiful little house of ours was just shaking. And like I said, it's a well-built home. Now, having said that, memories flood back. And, those of you like Lisa in Orlando who've been through some of these vicious storms know what I'm talking about. But some of these winds with Michael down in Panama City and the Lynn Haven area, the Mexico Beach area, which took a direct hit. Tyndall Air Force Base, by the way, took part of the direct hit. 145-mile-an-hour winds. Mm-hmm. And for those of you who've seen pictures, I sent some out in the beginning. It just leveled the place. Just leveled it.
I've seen that. It was so devastating.
Yeah.
That was, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so devastating.
And it still is. So here's the deal, because I've had many. First of all, I want to thank everybody. I sent out an email, and I hope you all got it. With all the chaos that ensued here, we took what amounted to a heavy tropical storm condition here. So, storm shutters were already on the windows, thank God, We did not, and it was just under hurricane force wind gusts. But our winds were sustained in, 65 to 70 mile an hour, steady, and some higher gusts. But that was it. Now that, to a lot of people, that sounds, oh my gosh, and it was, and it is. But in comparison to what happened, further east of us, it was, a walk in the park for us. But we are now having an influx of people from that area, and our grocery stores, our supermarkets are being wiped clean. Not only with people, who are coming up looking for food, and taking it back to their motels. By the way, you can't get a motel room around here. Imagine that. But also you've got people coming in from all over, stopping at our supermarkets and filling up their vehicles with bottled water, gallons of gasoline, food, non-perishable food that they can take down there and just pass it out to the people down there because they have nothing. Those that survived have nothing. I've had people innocently ask me, well, why don't those people that survived just go to shelters? Well, hello, everything got blown away. And just because it's a shelter doesn't, they're not standing either. And the remnants of buildings that are, and there are remnants of some buildings, they're not safe. They're not safe. I heard a story yesterday. I had to go to the bank, and Jill's worked there forever and a day, and she's just a great gal. And we were talking, and everybody is in a very, very somber mood, as you can imagine. And Jill was telling me about people she knows, friends of hers that she knows, down in Panama City, and they were hit. And actually, it was in the town of Lynn Haven, and 6 families. 6. And of those 6 families that she knows, and everyone survived, by the way, out of those families.
A blessing.
But one home stood. One home remained standing out of that group of 6 families. So those people, largely retirees, husbands and wives, but there were a couple of grown kids thrown in there somewhere. They all went to this one home, and they were to her friends, Maureen and Bob. I don't know Maureen and Bob, but she does, and she said they all went over to Maureen and Bob's house. Now, Maureen and Bob's house was standing, but the outer corners of Maureen and Bob's house were pretty much in shreds, pretty much blown apart. So even though it was a pretty good-sized home, all these people, and I really don't know how many, but from 6 locations, 6 different, or 5, because Maureen and Bob's would have been number 6, they all congregated there, but they all had to kind of stay in the center of the home because the corners of the home kind of aren't there anymore. Picture it.
Oh, man.
Picture it.
I remember seeing a picture on TV. Of course, everything was devastated except there was one home, and it was really a relatively large home that stood in the midst of it, and that was because it was built to withstand a hurricane. It was built that way.
Right, but we don't know what happened to that home. Are the windows blown out?
Oh, you're right
the
on that,
structure of that structure? Yeah.
There still could be damage to the home.
Absolutely.
I'm just reiterating.
I understand.
It's like that picture is in my mind.
Sure. And it's so hard for us really to understand. I can partially relate. I'll give you a quick little story as to what these people are going through in relation to what happened during Hurricane Ivan. And again, it was right here in this house I'm talking to you from, looking out the window, same home. We were without power for 12 days. And nobody could get in. So when they say you have to, be on your own and you have to be prepared. And I want, by the way, I want to tell you this story, but I want to hear what you think. I want your reaction, from these sort of man in the street stories, sort of like a, man on the street interview, if you will. I mean, it doesn't get any more candid than this. But, wait, hang on, guys, my computer, oh, rats, my computer's doing real goofy things. Oh, well. It might fix itself, it might not. But we were without power for 12 days, and rescue units had to cut their way and bulldoze their way down these streets. Now, we don't live on a highway or even a busy road. These are side streets that we live on. And all we could hear it was like 3 or 4 days before they actually got in. And, of course, you can't get out because the roads are covered with debris. But all we could hear was them getting closer and closer. We could hear the chainsaws. We could hear the bulldozers. We could hear the forklifts and, all the heavy-duty equipment that they brought in from Georgia to bring it down here. And they finally made it. They finally made it. Hang on, I'm going to have to probably. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm distracted in more ways than one today. You have my apologies. But it took a long time for them to really get to us, and I'll wind up this story with another story, just to show you how primitive things get when you are without power, when you're out this or that. We're about on the third day or going into the fourth, and things in my freezer were thawing, to say the least, but they were still good. So here come these guys. They finally made it. They cut through, and man, they were working their heavy equipment on this street. And I walked out to them, and I said, "I'm so glad to see you. You have no idea." And they looked. Bless their hearts, they looked like death warmed over. And I said, you guys, has that been you coming this way all this time? They said, "Yes, ma'am." And I said, "When do you sleep?" I said, "Ma'am, we really haven't slept very much at all. We came down from Georgia, and they just had to cut their way in the entire area." I said, "Are you hungry? Are you boys hungry?" "Oh, yes, ma'am, we are." I said, "Well, I said, you're going to be hanging around here a little bit." I said, "Just be patient with me, and I'll be back." So I went to the backyard because I was prepared.
Good for you.
So I had all this meat in the freezer, right? And I had a gas grill.
Oh.
Yeah, and plenty of water. Now, I knew what was coming. Boy, I knew what was coming. And so I had some steaks. And now the only thing I didn't have was paper plates. But I had plenty of paper towels. Now, you got to picture this as I go along, because this is what happens, you guys. This is what happens. So I cranked up that grill, and I threw those steaks on, and I cooked them to perfection for these boys. And I slapped some salt and pepper on them, and I took them out. And like I said, I didn't have the paper plates, but I had the paper towel. So I slapped them on layers of paper towel, and I took them with my bare hands out there. I gave them each some water, had some of that too, and bottled water. And I said, "Here you go, guys. I have yet to see. I cannot compare anything in my recollection to the expression on these young men's faces." And there were about 4 of them of gratitude.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could see the tears well up in their eyes. They were so hungry. And because I had said, when was the last time you ate? And they were bashful to tell me the last time they ate. They'd been worried. I said, "Well, you take this." I said, "And there's more where this came from." And they were just so grateful. And there they were. I mean, picture it. These greasy steaks, running the juice. I mean, boy, they sure look good, weren't they? But running through the paper towel and just down their hands, and they were just eating, taking bites out of these steaks and eating it. But that's what it's like. That's what it's like.
Wow.
That's what it's like.
The men, in order to do their work, they need to be rested and nourished.
Well, yeah, and we did the best we could for them. But, I said that to say, I guess the moral of this story, as they say, you've got to have that inner strength. That inner strength. And where does that inner strength come from? Well, let me preface that by saying this. And I'm not, what I'm going to say might sound a little harsh. It is not meant to. What I'm going to say might step on some people's toes. I don't mean to. But what I'm going to say is reality.
Amen. I love that.
Is the truth.
Pardon?
Because you cannot, there are so many, and I'm just gonna spill my guts. There
are right ahead. I'm listening.
Monday morning quarterbacks to situations, whether it's Hurricane Michael or Hurricane Ivan, or some kind of something going on in the world, or somebody else's life going on there. There are Monday morning. We got more Monday morning quarterbacks than Heinz has got pickles.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
We have an echo.
I said there are more Monday morning quarterbacks in life than Heinz has got pickles. But what do I mean by Monday morning quarterbacks? These are the people who sit back, in their comfort zone and say, "Well, I would never have done that. I wouldn't have made that decision. I would have done this or that." No wonder they deserve what they got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've got so much faith, and then this one really gets me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to get emails. Oh, am I going to get emails? There is when people say, "Well, I've got this much faith. I've got so much faith that I know the Lord would never allow that to happen to me because I've got this much faith."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? Really? So we live in a physical, let me make sure I've got this straight. We live in a physical world. We are subject to the laws of physics, but because you have all this faith, you're better than the rest of us, and you are above the laws of physics, so this stuff is not going to happen to you? Really?
Preach, preach, preach. Go on and preach. You get me in the mood. Preach, preach, preach.
Like I said, I'll talk the ear off a tin donkey if you let me. But it's true. Is it not true? We've got to have a perspective.
Yeah.
And us MSers have got to have a greater perspective on life because stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It just does.
Yeah.
And how do we be ready for that? Not being armchair quarterbacks, Monday morning quarterbacks. No, the world's full of them. The woods are full of them. No, it's by putting it into perspective, putting it into reality. And how many discussions have we had? This is a tough one. This is as tough as it gets. It doesn't get any tougher like this. When they're still pulling bodies out of the sand, the piles of sand and rubble down there. Can you imagine the smell?
Oh.
My neighbors do. My neighbors went down. They took loads of stuff down. Ice, water, food. Chef Boyardee. You can't find Chef Boyardee on the shelves, the supermarket shelves around here, because people are taking it all down there. And they don't. People have asked me, how do you know where to go? Don't worry about that. They see you coming, they're gonna come out. They're gonna find you because they haven't eaten.
Yeah.
They haven't had a sip of water. We take things like that for granted. Brushing our teeth, flushing our toilets, taking a shower,
cooking food.
Yeah. There are people down there right now wondering where their next sip of water is going to come from, where their next bite of food is coming from. I guarantee you, what I lived through, me and my sister, what we lived through with Hurricane Ivan, 12 days without power, and all those days being cut off, waiting for the cavalry to come with their heavy-duty equipment, feeding them steaks with our bare hands, watching them eat with their bare. Those were glory days. Those were glory days. That was the best of the best compared to what these people are going through. Yeah. Don't you know there are snowflakes down there living in Panama City? There are some of these little dainty little snowflakes we make fun of on this program going through this, what's happening to them? How many of them got washed out to sea? I told you I was going to spill my guts. But this is as raw as it gets. This is as real as it gets. And when I tell you, you have got to get it together. You have got to sew that body, mind, and spirit together. And you got to suck it up and get it together, because it ain't pretty out there when these things happen. And more of this stuff is going to happen. And the way I see it, we had better really get it together as far as our spiritual energies, our spiritual strengths, because we don't know what's going to happen, because anything can happen to anybody at any time. And it does, and it has.
In a blink of an eye.
Go ahead.
In a blink of an eye. It can change you.
Guys.
Okay, I'm looking at it like this, Sue Ellen. This is Tretta from Texas. I couldn't imagine going through what y'all went through or have been through in the past. I mean, here we don't have anything like that. But just recently, our lake, we have individuals that have water in their homes. I had no clue of what a wake was until I was reading online about water being pushed, toward buildings and stuff like that. So I had no clue, because I don't live around water like that. I live on land, and the most water I see is when it rains or I'm passing by a lake. So I could definitely not imagine being in y'all's shoes, and it is devastating just to hear what y'all have to go through. 12 days without electricity. Oh, my God, we went 24 hours, and we were ecstatic, like, what are we going to do? How are we going to have, AC or TV? We don't look at the finer things in life of what other people have to go through. And my best friend, which is like a sister to me, she lives in Houston area, and she lives in Katy. Well, the time when they had the hurricane, what was that, the real bad one, Harvey? She got out. And I said, well, why do y'all stay down there? Because I don't understand, because I'm not there. She said, because normally when they say a storm's coming, a hurricane, it's not going to be, that devastating, so you could stand what it's going to happen. It's just kind of like if you stay there with a tornado. She said that nobody expected 50 inches plus inches of rain, and it was devastating, and then it moved to Florida. My eyes were peeled to that TV. I don't get to get your locals, but I would get CNN or MSNBC, and I was peeled to that TV. It stayed on 24/7, trying to make sure that you were okay and others that I knew, family members. I'm on Facebook, because even though I can't understand what y'all are going through, because I'm not in your shoes, my heart still went out for all of you guys. And it's just such a tragedy when you have so much loss. And to imagine a town so beautiful or an island so beautiful could just be devastated. To us, we see something, it lays out through a tornado. But for y'all to have a hurricane, it's like, whoa, a hurricane is that powerful? We don't understand, because we've never faced it. But once we do, face it, then we could actually understand more. And so that's for a lot of us that don't know, and that's one of the reasons that, some of us might look at things like that. But, yes, I love the analogy and the truth, because you said a mouthful. You hit the nail on the head. That was beautiful, and thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Toretta. And, believe it or not, through that ordeal, I thought about all you guys. I really did. Now you're making me tear up.
It's okay. It's
no,
okay.
I
this
did,
is
because
heart talk.
It's heart talk. Because this is where we speak our mind straight from the heart, right? And that's what
yes.
we're doing.
And if we have to cry, y'all guys, we can cry. That's what we're here for, together, a group.
Thank you, dear. Thank you. But I thought about you all, and I thought there are so many like you. I know so many. I know most of you on a deeply personal basis. We've been together a long time. And I wouldn't have it any other way. And when we say we are MS family, you can take that one to the bank. But I thought, what if that were some of you? Where I know your circumstance and you can't leave. I mean, you can't leave where you are. What if this was you? There have to be. I mean, the law of average simply tells us that there are people just like you, us, that went through this thing down there. And so then my mind goes from there to this scenario. And this is really the raw truth, okay? This is really where I'm going, if I'm going anywhere with this. Look around you right now, where you are. I mean it. Most of us are sitting in a chair, right? Mm-hmm. But look around you. What is surrounding you? Walls, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a window or two.
Mm-hmm.
4 walls.
4 walls that are standing.
That's it. I mean, those walls create what we call our home. But what is it really? In the raw, gut-wrenching truth of it, okay, of something like this. Mm-hmm. It is our protection. Again, we live in a physical world. We're subject to the laws of physics. Mm-hmm. And when, an irresistible force reaches an immovable object, what happens? As in a hurricane, what happens to those walls? They are the only
fall down and crumble.
And I actually this really dawned on me hard during going through Hurricane Ivan that I've described to you. The only thing protecting my sister and me from what was out there were 4 walls. What if there were no 4 walls?
And there was no protection but the heavens above.
And
our
this
Father.
is why I just harp and harp and harp on the importance of having the spiritual strength. Because when it comes down to it, when it comes right down to it, that's all we've got. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all we've got.
That's so true.
Think about it. That's it.
Yes. And Sue Ellen, I don't know if y'all read on it, but I'd like to touch on it because this is even more devastating. It was a shelter. I cannot tell you where it's at. You guys might want to go on Google and read it, but it popped up on my phone. And the only thing I could say is, oh, my God, I just want to take this man and feed him to the alligators. The 60-year-old man that molested that child in the shelter after the hurricane.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
That is so devastating. How could you take this child's innocence after a terrifying event, a life-threatening event? She made it through. She made it through safely, and then you turned around and treated her the way you did. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'd feed him to the alligators. So there's nobody.
That's how I feel too, Tretta.
I'm sorry.
Was that Virginia?
That's my thought.
There's just no, feed them to the alligators.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just looking at these pictures now, Sue Ellen, and I'm oh my God.
Look at the life and then the loss. Last time I heard there was a rise in death of 12, but I haven't been able to catch anything else. I know it's a lot more.
It's a lot more. It's a lot more. Those are what they call them discoveries. We've made a discovery, and this has happened many times here where the local news crew is down there, and they're interviewing so and so, and you've got the rescue workers. And by the way, it's no longer search and rescue down here; it's search and recovery.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, but they'll have to turn the cameras off because they've made another discovery. Like I said, there are so many that are still missing.
And that's just that is so scary.
Yeah.
Because you just never know what you may find.
I know.
Or what you may not find, and it's honestly, it's reality, don't get me wrong, but if it was one of us, you got to look at it like that. That could have been us. We had family members down there in the surrounding areas that could have been affected that are on this call today. By the grace of God, y'all are here, and we're thankful for that. Guys, I don't have a whole lot, but I seen a message on TV about donation, and I was like, it caught me off guard, and I was like, what did that just say? And I took it on myself. They said it bills it to your phone bill. So I took it up on myself to make a donation. It might not have been a lot, but I made a $10 donation to kind of help out somebody. I know $10 is not a lot, but everybody that could put in $10, it can make, a multitude of difference for these people and families.
Oh, yeah.
And I encourage all you guys on this phone to, if you have it, or you don't have it, that's understandable. But if you have it, at least try to make a donation. They have some kind of number that you can actually text if you want to use your cell phone, and you text that number. I'm going to see if I have that number for you guys. I think it's like 99929, and then you tell them how much you want to donate, and you could say text $10, and I think it's what it said. I don't want to tell you all the wrong story. Let me see. Hold on. It's 90999, and you can text to the American Red Cross is what you're basically doing, and it says to confirm that you want to send Red Cross, and you put the amount, and then it'll come back and say to confirm. Line says to confirm your $10 donation, American Red Cross for disaster relief. Reply yes, and so I did, and it said it would bill it to my phone bill. So if I can have a phone and pay $10, that'll help out somebody or some families. And I encourage you, all you guys, if you're able to, try to help out, because these people need us more than anything now. We could actually miss that extra pack of ground meat, if we have to, and split up some, and, things like that is what I think about. So we can help others. These are our family members or friends or neighbors, or we don't know who they are. And we may be on the call. We might have had some of those family members involved, and we're not just aware of it. We don't know. So that's why I encourage everybody, if you can, but if you can't, that's understandable. Not everybody can, and not everybody will want to. But just whatever you can do, guys, just, if you can, do so, because they really need us. And I know if the shoe was on the other foot, they would do the same for us.
Yeah, thanks, Toretta. And you're so right. So much help is needed. And everybody around here, I was telling you the story about Jill and all her friends down there, and they're all, all they can do is hang out at Maureen and Bob's house and wait for what? I don't know. I mean, you have to say, well, what happens next?
Yeah,
I don't know.
What happens next?
What happens next?
God, that's just what I was thinking. Like, what do you do?
I know.
When you've got nothing.
Yes, and guys, this is another thing, too. I don't know, and I'm just thinking this way. When a devastation happens, guess what that does? That brings aid into the towns or states or islands or what have you from other places, correct? So that's like a union joining them together as one to help others. Like, I have a brother, and my brother works for the insurance company, and he told me, he said, I'm sorry, I haven't been able to get back with you. I've been working long hours due to the hurricane. That's okay. You don't worry about me. You take care of those people that are in need of you, because he has to go out there and do estimates and things like that. And I'm like, oh, my God, all the loss that he has to calculate. And, when they're calculating that stuff, it may not come out to actually what it's worth. So even though those people had a lot, they may not get back everything that they really had, and that is devastating. You know, you can never replace something that you had. You can always replace money, but you can't replace something that's dear to you. You know, you might have lost a picture or something like that that was dear to you. You can't get that stuff back sometimes. So that's the way I'm looking at everything. We're being joined. When devastation comes, we're being joined. So we can bicker and argue between the countries or whatever, the states or whatever, but guess what? When a devastation comes, we join together as one, and we show that we're truly a family. We unite together. It's still some tragedy and, you know, differences or what have you, but you don't find that until something happens.
I think that being lucky is things, your home, at one point your home doesn't matter, your family matters. And as long as you have your family, you can rebuild. Like, that's the most important thing, I think. But yes, you need for the people that desperately need help. I understand that too.
You're right. They have to eat and they have to have water, and they desperately need shelter and all the basics. But you're absolutely, both of you are so right. You're spot on, and I know everybody on this call feels the same way. But this was the motivation, I guess, behind my rant and all that, because if we don't have the spiritual strength, the spiritual stamina, you know, because it's really something to be a spectator, right? But when you're a participant, something all else again, regardless of what it is. You know, and anybody can be a spectator. Anybody can be, you know, an armchair quarterback or a Monday morning quarterback. Like I said, the woods are full of them.
Sue Ellen, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
Were there people coming to your house?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, I just wondered because it was probably the only one standing, right?
Oh no. The homes. You mean during Ivan?
Yeah. Or after.
After. Well, that's a good question. Neighbors. Yeah.
Neighbors.
Neighbors were out. I'm trying to recall. We were helping each other. You know. I remember Jack and his son next door, and he's pretty good at, you know, stocking up and preparing. But there were some. I remembered, oh, bless her heart, Isabel, a little bit across the street and down the way. She's passed, bless her heart, since then. But she was of the mindset, you know, that we talk about sometimes. And Isabel, if you're listening from the gates of heaven, I'm not picking on you because, you know, I still love you. But you know, she'd come out of her house. I didn't know it was so. If I knew it was going to be so bad, I would have got water. I would have a box of cookies. Do you have something to eat? Can I have that water? You know, you know, you know, and God love her, but and you know what I'm saying. So yeah, it was everybody helped everybody out. So what Toretta was outlining, what she's talking about, she's spot on. And that's what it is. People pull together, and this is why, you know. And when I talk about, you know, your spiritual muscle, it doesn't matter what your belief system is. It doesn't. You know, the fact that you have that strength of spirit, and it's not just an I can do. Oh yeah, of course that's part of it, but it's believing in God. It is believing in whatever you believe in. Because I know this program goes out on the replay all over the world. We have people listening in Russia, in Europe, all parts of Europe, the North Pole, the South Pole, South America. I mean, hi everybody, it's all over. So we've got people of all different persuasions. You know, we talk about, you know, Christianity and this and that, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that you are still here in human form. We're still living in this physical world. The laws of physics still apply to everybody, but you'd better lead with your belief, because that's what's going to get you through. Anybody want to comment on that? I've done all the talking so far.
Lead with your belief. Well, I have one question, and I've always wondered about this. Why did you never leave your house? You were in the eye of the storm, and you never left.
Get this question a lot. Let me give you a couple of different scenarios, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The landscape that we have, the geography here, and this is going to sound weird, but it's true. We have what's called I-10. You might have heard. It's a huge highway, and it goes east to west. It's to the north of us, where we live. We're right on the right on the coast, and we're just a few short football fields in length from the surf. Okay, so that'll give you an idea. There is one road going north from here to I-10, which will get you out wherever you want to go. You want to go west, you want to go east, whatever the case may be. There you go. But there is one road, and it's 2 lanes on both going in each direction. That's it. And that is for many, many, many miles east to west.
Wow.
So how to get out? You've got to take that road, that very small highway. Well, don't you know everybody else has that same idea?
That road.
Right. Now, you might say, the question comes up in your mind, well, why is there only one road? Another great question. Because all the real estate around, surrounding that road, between us and I-10 and above, it's all government property. Because we have all these military bases. We've got Eglin Air Force Base. We have Hurlburt Field. We have the Naval Air Station. We have the Coast Guard. The list goes on. And it's huge. It's an enormous amount of land. So it's not like you can go in or some, greedy contractor can grow in and say, I'm going to put a highway there. I'm going to put a stop to this, and I'll make it a toll road and make millions of dollars off of people wanting to escape hurricanes. That doesn't work that way. One road. Now, having said that, I know somebody who back then, Opal, we got down here in 96, and we got down right after Opal, which was devastating hurricane. But her husband, they had local business, and her husband said, I want you to load up the boys in the van, and they were younger kids at the time. I want you to load up the boys in the van and get out of here. Yes, I will. So what she did, she did all the right things. She got her bottled water, she got her snacks, she got her Chef Boyardee, right? And, plenty of cash, filled up the tank, and off they went. Up this where? One road.
One road where they just ran out of gas waiting.
Guess what?
Right.
Well, let me tell you what happened. Oh, she had gasoline. The van was running good. But everybody and his brother had the same idea.
Yeah.
Guess what happened? She and those boys rode out Opal in that van on that road.
Oh, no. Okay.
You want to do that?
Question answered.
Yeah. I mean, that's one. That's one. That's one scenario. There are many others. You've got to say, well, where am I going to go?
Yeah.
If a person doesn't have friends or family to go to, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And the biggie always is and still is. How do you know that you're going to find a motel room? You got to live in your car. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to stay?
Yeah.
Where are you going to go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Where are you going to sleep?
Yeah.
Where are you going to eat? Oh gosh, they just ran out like here. We're umpteen, miles away, and they closed Winn-Dixie down. And one reason they closed it down was they ran out of food in certain departments, and they just had nothing to sell, and the storm was coming, and they didn't know if we were going to be. They call it a cone of uncertainty. You've all seen that on the TV. We were certainly in the cone of uncertainty, so they were shutting down. Restaurants were shutting down. Where are you going to eat?
With Irma, I got scared when Walmart was closed, and I'm not even a Walmart shopper, but we all know Walmart only closes on Christmas Day.
Right.
So Walmart was closed for days, and that's when I was like, wait a minute, have I been left behind? I got really, really scared.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Because and Lisa, what's your take on this? Because you've been through these storms. You cannot, it's sort of like living in Alice in Wonderland reality, because you can't make a real decision. There are too many factors and everything changes.
With Irma last year, my family, my mom and my stepdad, we wanted to head to Georgia.
Right.
My husband said he wasn't going anywhere, and we live in an older home that has withstand all the, storms in the past. My husband said he went and got a generator. He got a window unit for me because I can't be hot with this MS.
Right.
And he said he was going to just weather the storm. And then my parents and I were trying to get to Georgia, and then we looked at the news. Everyone else was planning to get to Georgia.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, the people we were headed to in Georgia lost power as well. So I weathered the storm. I weathered Irma and Matthew. And my main thing is I can't deal with the heat. So with Matthew, which was in 2017, I just used to go sit in my car with the AC on. So with Irma, we were better prepared, and we knew to get a window unit. So we had a window unit. We had the generator. I was able to cook. So Irma was okay. But by the fourth day, I was just tired. I got cabin fever. I was going crazy. And I went and drove around, and nothing was open. I felt like I was on the set of Gilligan's Island. Like the whole area was just shut down. Everything was closed.
It's a new reality. It's a different reality. Because Walmart's closed. The gas station. Oh, did I mention the gas stations ran out of gas here? Imagine that. Hey, imagine that. And it's like, okay, I topped off or I didn't top off, which I did, thank God. But there were lines, and they were driving like there was no tomorrow. I may put that in the email to you. You are in an alternative reality because people and their behavior. Do you notice their behavior, Lisa?
Yes.
People, they panic.
People, and a lot of people, I think it was just anxiety.
It's a desperation.
Florida, we're a transient state, so you get new people all the time. And to be up north and read about it and see it is nothing when you have to actually live through it.
Yeah, I know.
Your baby can't stand cold showers, but it's on day 3 and the water heater no longer has warm water.
What are you going to do?
So it's just a harsh reality, for real.
Yeah,
it really is.
I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine what y'all are going through because that is devastating. Because if you think about it, all of us, we have a certain lifestyle, the way we live. When that lifestyle is kind of like there's an adjustment we have to make. We have to learn how to do things. I think we were talking about it one time before where if we had no food and no places to live, not places to live, but we had no food and no food in the store, how would we eat? We'd probably start eating the grass off the ground because that's all we had, the form of eating. That's what we're going to have to adapt to, whether we like it or not. But you know what?
That's how it was originally till sin took over. And when 8 days without power, it just humbles you. And it brings you to God because you really need God to keep you because you don't know what tomorrow has in store for you.
Exactly.
I thought Duke Energy was never going to get our power back on. 8 days, that's a long time when you're not used to living like that. But it humbles you.
That's a lifetime.
And it helps you reprioritize. Because no longer, we still had cable because we had direct TV at the time, but no longer was Wi-Fi imperative.
Available.
Like my 8-year-old learned that, you're going to have to learn to live without Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, you were born into it, but we don't have it right now. So the things that were of utmost importance to you is no longer important. You just have to rely on God to make sure you have food.
Thank you, Lisa. That is my point. That's my whole point right there.
Because where are you driving to? Everything is shut down. You're going to run out of gas. The gas stations don't even have gas. So you're stuck in your house, and all you have is God. And that's what He wants. He wants us. We're too distracted with this lovely life.
Amen, y'all. We meant to be on this call, y'all. We are meant to be on this call.
Be humble and weather the storm in your house and pray. That's it. He had me for 8 days. Trust me. If He never had me before, He had me for those 8 days.
He had you then. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. We never know why we get put in a situation. We never know why. But it's for us to get to the point of being with our Father, our Creator. We don't know why
Giving Him all
happen.
Our time. Giving Him the time.
Not
TV, not internet, nothing. Not driving around aimlessly, not the malls. Like, everything was shut down. There was nowhere to go. Nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
And and you guys are right. And speaking of all that, we're going to have to move quickly into the prayer portion, and I apologize for that, but we're running out of time again. But that's my whole point. Is the bottom line is God, because we're someday we're all going to lose this body, right? It's gonna go away. We came into the world and brand new, but everything in this life, the laws of physics. I'm harping again, but everything in this life has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And what we're talking about here, we're talking about a life. They call it a lifetime. But someday that's going to go away. And what are we left with? And we better learn to develop it here, because we don't know what's going to happen. We just don't know what's going to happen. So with that, guys, we are going to have to move on. I hate to do this. We're having such a great conversation, but we're going to have to move on.
Now we need the 2 hours.
To be continued. How's that?
Yes, and you guys, I needed this because I was going through, and I still am, but I was going through some things.
I know.
And thank you, guys. Thank you so much, because I didn't think I was going to even be able to speak on this call. But
when you're going through, meditate on Psalm 121. That gets me through life.
There you go.
Put your eyes to the hills, because that's where your help comes from. Just meditate on Psalm 121.
Thank you. Psalms 121?
Yep, that's it.
Okay,
what
thank
is
you.
Psalm 121?
121.
In the Bible, Psalm 121, I lift my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. He will not let your foot slumber. He that keepeth Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is my shade at my right hand. The sun shall not smite me by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord is my keeper. And forgive me, but I can't even remember the rest.
That's okay. My favorite is the 23rd Psalm.
Oh, yeah.
And though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I
fear
shall
no evil. Yes.
That's my cousin. She sends me that all the time, because that is her verse there.
Yep. And then
let me tell you, when you're faced with adversity, just praise God through it. Don't even look at you cannot look at things with your natural eye, because then you'll be crazy. You have to operate in the spirit realm, and God will get you through it. Trust me.
There you go.
You have to operate in the spirit realm.
You just said what took me an hour to say. Thank you.
It's not. I got sick at 43. I had almost a PhD teaching, loving life. I didn't plan this nightmare that I'm living, but guess what? There's purpose in my pain, and I praise Him through it.
The Lord.
Praise Him through it.
I think we need
to thank God for all of y'all that are on this call and those that can't be on the call. But thank you, Lisa, for joining our group. Thank you.
Yeah. I think we ought to continue this next week. You want to do part 2?
No problem.
No, I don't see why not.
Let's do it, yeah, because I haven't heard. You all have heard from me. I've been ranting for an hour, but I want to hear you. I want to hear what you have. More of you, I should say. But right now, guys, I hate to do this, but we have to move on. We're going to go into the prayer portion of the call. Before we do, however, does anybody, before we leave this commentary portion of the call, does anybody have anything they want to add? Quickly, we've got like a minute.
Okay. Today is Dan and I's 14th wedding anniversary, and I know that Toretta has a son has a birthday today as well.
Happy birthday to everyone.
Wow.
Happy birthday. Okay, wonderful.
Anniversary.
Okay, all right. Anybody else before we move on? No. Okay. All right. Well, let's do that. And for those of you who are listening for the very first time, and guys, we're picking up new listeners all the time, which is fantastic. And I want to welcome all of you. And I heard a few people come on in the beginning when we started, and I didn't get a chance to welcome you. So I don't know who you are, but I'm really glad you're here and listening. Glad you to share this hour with you. And I hope it's been of some benefit, because we sure can get into some conversations, can't we?
Yes, we can.
It's been a dandy. And I think we should. I think we should continue this on in one vein or another next week, because we've said a lot, but there's so much more that has been unsaid that needs to come out. And I think this is very, very valuable. So I want to thank all of you for your input and for your contributions, and we'll just do it again. We'll just kind of pick up where we left off next week. But right now, we're going to leave the commentary portion of our program and move into what we call the prayer portion. And what is the prayer portion? Well, let me tell you. I not only believe, I know that without divine guidance, without divine direction, this Heart Talk would never have come into being. It just wouldn't. And someday we'll tell that story again, but just take my word for it for now. But in order to continue, we just want to say thank you. We want to say thank you to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for bringing this into fruition, for bringing us all together, that we can speak our minds straight from our heart, like we do here on Heart Talk. But we need to give back, and we need to say thank you to Him and for sending His angels to guide us all together. And so with that, I'm going to ask that you join in prayer with me, and then I'm going to read names on the prayer list as we do. And are there any other new names to go on the prayer list this week? Okay. Then please join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your divine intervention into the lives of so many that need your help. We ask that you answer our fervent prayer to help those who are in need and afflicted with multiple sclerosis and other ailments and diseases that are interfering with their lives and in many cases crippling their lives. And as we read these names aloud now, Father, we ask that the Holy Spirit move through these lines of communication that are connecting us all around the world, and that the Holy Spirit carry our voices together with our prayers into the heavens, and that you will hear our prayers and grant comfort to those who ask for your divine intervention in their lives, for them and for their families, and grant them healing to restore them to good health, and that you will cover them with your blessings and divine presence and protection. We thank you, Father, for hearing our prayers. In Jesus' name, amen. And I will now read the names on the prayer list. Donnell, Linda, Sandra, Erica, Shemang, Dyke, Carlos in Canada, Janet Carroll and family, Tish and Luke Roscams in the UK, Mary Ferris, Jeremy Mann, Julie Perkins, Rashawn Jefferson, Damon Jones, Scotty Williams, Barbara Cleary in the UK, Linda Hawley, Sylvia, Greg Evenson and family, Arthur Marsalis, Veronica Lewis, Tanya Thompson, Kathy Pedrick, Mark, Francine Mancari, Tamala Lewis and family, Michelle, Joe in the UK, Carol in Iowa, Edie in Missouri, Alberta in Kansas, Will in Konachek, Sandra Moen in Canada, Susan, Russ Dizdar and family, Donna and Nathan Leal, Kathleen in Boston, Frankie, Melissa, and Destiny in Boston, Tracy Whiting, Clint and Cliff, Phyllis in Kansas, Jennifer in the UK, Linda Jean, Sherry Gudgeon, Sabrina Sutton, Tracy Thacker, Melanie Monteith, Edie Neal, Sybil Wynnum, Manfred Pauli in Venezuela, Donna in San Andrew, Mubin in Cape Town, South Africa, Rona, Noor, Rami, Ferris, Muhammad, Jill Hahn, Travis and Ellen Thacker, John, Tommy and his whole family, Dennis Walker, Faye, Maria in South Africa, Jennifer, Charlotte Matrisic, Maria in Nevada, Louise in Alabama, Patty in Alabama, Sybil Wynnum, Gloria, Contessa, Mrs. Disney, Ladios, Dr. Paul Hegstrom, Lorraine, Irene, Lydia, Mike Newcomb, Beverly Raza, Jason, Charlene Kelly, Daniel and Faniel in Toronto, Frankie, Robert, Stacy, Judy, Sarah, Sherry, Ron and Marge, Terry, Tim and Michelle, Constance Wadlington, Toretto, Glenda from Kansas, Larry Nichols, Melanie, Floyd, Amy and Eric Olson, Trudy, Gladys, Gerald Taylor, Diamond, Gregory, Irma, Travis John, Ertis, DeMarcus, Anne, Richard Brezen, Helen, Pearl, Irma, Grace, Rebecca, Linda and Joe in the UK, Dan and Jason Junker, Don, Dion, Joshua and Johnny, Kalila, Aralee, the Marsh family, Julie Mullins, the Grant Anderson family, Chad Cowan, Randy Guerra, Barry Wolcott, Tina and CJ, Ray, Mackenzie, Deborah, Sally, Joe and family, Gina, Mary in Alaska, Veronica Thomas, Karen in Seattle, Michael Freeman, Megan, Trudy, Jeremiah Mask, Gwanati in Russia, Jeff Olson, Kelly Keller in Texas, Jennifer in Kansas, Geneva Norris, Latasha Coleman, Seth Thomas, Jim Thomas and family, Tanisha Washington, Cindy, Guillermo, Eula Cooper, Robert Alexander, Leo Torres, Chris Elias, Jeff London, Jared Chambers, John Chambers, Edie Tiny, Leslie Cavazos, Ryan Cadillo, Aaron Marsh, Jimmy in the UK, Valerie and Hillary Perry, Blanche Collins, Flick Mays, Michael Kuhlman, the Pope family, Baldonado family, Mary Jo in Fargo, Danielle Duran, Dr. Marty Sanders, the Hargrave crew, Lena Davis family, Sharon in London, Billy Medlock, Lola Striggles, Rondella Canida, Dave McCartney and family, Nicole, Shay Standifer and family, Billy Coleman, Rita Nixon, James Grace, Alton Johnson, the Johnson family, Tracy and Alice Daniels, the Elias family, Arlen, Kathy and Al Matthews, Deborah Yars DiLorenzo, Chadrick Watson, Kevin Giles, Eric, the Collins family, the Johnson family, Trevia Powell Clark and family, Ray LaBelle, Tony Delsey, Edward McFarland, Seth, Malaya Marnie Horton Fisher, Abe Martinez, Roscoe, Hattie Battle, Alberta and Chuck, Isabel, Enoch Bryant, Sister Wanda Burke, Anthony Canida, Trinity Johnson, Curtis Warren, Susan Trotter, Rhonda Pryor, Wanda Burke, James Washington, Enoch Bryant family, Aretha McKinney, Arlene Matthews, Lee Pittman, Blessed Hartiman, Andre Giles, Penny, Bonnie, Loretta, Ray Charles, Wayne Jones Jr., Khadijah Cooper, Becky and family, Ashia and Kanisha Morrison, the Jeff Olson family, the Sybil Morrison family, Trelina Hope, the Gafford family, Emily Aguilar, Shaladra Kelly, Ann Downs, Irvin Gudgeon, Latosha Coleman, Jackie Clark, Don Orth, Jason Kirkaby, Denise Doobie, Mrs. Stapleton, the Mooney family. And Father, these are the names of the children who perished in the fire in Chicago. Adrian Hernandez, age 14. Ariel Garcia, age 5. Xavier Contreras, age 11. Nathan Contreras, age 11. Cesar Contreras, age 14. Maya Alvarez, age 3 months. Loni Ayala, age 3. Grelani Ayala, age 5. Giovanni Ayala, age 10. And Victor Mendoza, age 16. Ricky, La Rosa, Paula, Netta, the Flores family, Rose Cummins, Val Howard, the May family, Sevanso Davis, Aaron Marsh. And I will leave you with this. Lord, help me to remember that nothing is going to happen to me today that you and I can't handle. Amen.
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 Guys, I want to thank you for being here. Wow, what a heart talk. Thank you for being here. You've been such a comfort to me. And I want to hear more of what you need to say on this subject. I know we just ran out of time. That's all. Doggone it. But we did. But
that sometimes happens.
I'm going to send you back out in the world now, reluctantly. But before I do, I want to let you know that you are in my thoughts and prayers each and every day, and that I love each and every one of you very, very much, and that will never change. So,
thank you. Same to you.
As we all get up from sitting down at this beautiful old round kitchen table that Mom had in the farmhouse, right? And big old red round kitchen table, and scoot those wooden chairs back that are really more comfortable than they look. I just want to thank you for being here. It's been great visit on Heart Talk. And as you go about your day, let's be thankful for the things that we have, and keep all these people that we've been talking about in our prayers, as I know you will. And so you go have a wonderful day, have a wonderful week ahead, and I'll look forward to meeting up with you again next Tuesday morning, back here on Heart Talk. So
all right, take care. God bless.
God bless.
God bless.
Thank you,
everybody. Love you guys.
Thank you. Love you.
Bye-bye.
Blessings to all. Bye.